How can it take 5 minutes?
That's what it is. Don't forget that thing, of course.
Yes.
The other thing. Yes. Yes, when it finally decides to get its act together. Anyway, welcome. Welcome to the last ever live stream from this location. The last one ever. Shut up. Goddamn live stream. Yes, this will be the last time we ever greet you live from this location. From next week, we will be in Pimbatia. Only next week there'll be no live stream because I won't be in Pimbatia. I'll be off around gallivanting around the countryside for a Sarul-based event.
Not next weekend. We're moving next weekend.
Yes, right, yeah, the one after that.
Yes.
Yes, so there won't be a live stream for a couple of weeks after this. So, this better be a good one. Speaking of Sarul, as I was just a few seconds ago, the reason that we're late coming online today is I've been recording a response to Not a Dr. Michael Grigger's ridiculous video about AFA from Upper Klamath Lake in Oregon, which I will release on my channel probably this afternoon after this live stream, having done just a very little bit of editing that I need to do to make it more better in terms of the audio. Otherwise, the message has been recorded. It basically says, Michael, you're a fucking idiot, is what it says.
And no singing.
And no singing. Yes.
Seems to be the theme in the chat.
Yes, no singing. So
there you go.
If you're wondering why the normal studio isn't behind us, it's because it's packed in a box behind
Excellent.
us. That's where it is. The whole studio, it's in a box.
Roger-o.
Yep. If there's any issue with the audio, by the way, let us know about it. I see that the meter is peaking a bit, so just let me know if there's any significant clipping occurring so that we can just pull that back. Otherwise, we'll assume it's all fine and your oral enjoyment is maximal. Your oral enjoyment.
Wouldn't it be auditory?
If you like. But that wouldn't be as funny.
But who's
Right, shall we get on with answering some questions? Are there any questions?
We have a super chat.
Oh, lovely. We like super chats.
So, thank you very much for the super chat. It says, it appears to me that you recommend OMAD. What would be the best time of day for eating?
It matters not a jot. Whenever it works for you. I do suggest, though, that eating is probably best occurring during the daylight hours and not afterwards, nighttime, if that's possible. In all parts of the world, that's not always possible, of course, because some places don't get a lot of sun at certain times of the year.
Well, they do have some sun.
Yes, but, often people are working during those hours and can't be eating so much, maybe.
Possibly.
Anyway, if you can, once a day when it's light. But, you do you.
Yeah.
Good.
I do think morning is probably preferable, according to the studies. What does the
studies show? Studies show.
However, some people just seem to function better doing it in the evening. Whether that's a learned behavior or not.
Yeah.
Right. Morning. Wonder what we will learn today. So do I.
That Michael Grigger is still an absolute fucking imbecile with not the first clue of what he's talking about. Just purely...
I thought you just said that earlier.
Yeah.
No?
Oh, yeah, we're just reinforcing the learning. Michael Grigger is a fucking imbecile.
And no one's filling in for me today?
Nope.
So no singing allowed?
Oh, no singing. We'll sneak some in later.
So, next question.
Yes.
Should I consume more dietary calcium from dairy if I base my muscle meat intake on conventionally raised poultry? Heard oxalates tend to bind to calcium, then be excreted. Is that right?
It might help, it might not help. Depends on your particular physiology as that relates to dairy, and also whether it's A1 or A2 dairy, because that can have an effect on your immune responses in such a way as to affect your uptake of various nutrients in it or not. Why are you basing your diet on poultry? Because you should be basing it on the muscle meats and associated fats of large ruminant animals, preferably, and smaller ruminant animals secondarily, and everything else tertiarily.
So explain why.
Why? It's to do with the fatty acid profile of the meats. They are only very slightly different, and I'd be loath to say that there would be a predictable change in outcome. So there's that. However, on top of that as well, the red meat is the one that contains the heme iron, and the white meat not so much. That can be important.
What if you have hemochromatosis? Would it be good to eat more poultry?
Possibly. It depends on what kind of hemochromatosis and what the severity of it is, etc. Often, a good answer for hemochromatosis is the good old bloodletting. Pop a couple of leeches under your tongue and call me in the morning. Or something.
Good. Right.
Thank you, Joseph.
Joseph have more questions.
Or is it Yosef?
I don't know.
Neither do I.
Do you have a theory on what would cause hemorrhoids? I think mine came on because of changing my diet too quickly back 7 months ago, and the issue came on about 5 months ago. How to heal it?
There are all sorts of theories about hemorrhoids and their underpinning etiology. I'm not really convinced necessarily that one answer is better than the others. What we do know is that 2/3, I think it is, of people over 30 will have experienced hemorrhoids at least for a period of time, if not ongoingly. And it's, therefore a very common thing. So you'd think we'd have better answers, but I'm not sure that we do personally. Right. Others with questions.
Yes. What's happening in the body when you have a B1 deficiency or uptake?
A B1 deficiency or uptake?
I guess uptake issue.
All right. Well, B1, that's thiamine, isn't it?
I think so.
Yeah. It's one of the complex of B vitamins that serves multiple roles in the body. So all sorts of symptomology is potential possibility. I actually haven't seen anyone with a B1 deficiency personally that's been measured, ratified, and backed up by any kind of evidence. There are those running around suggesting high-dose B1. I think Elliot Overton is one of those. He has his reasons for that, and whether that's efficacious in every case, like Lily the Pink, don't know. It's not something I use in my practice. I don't suggest in my practice to anyone necessarily that any kind of nutritional supplementation is necessary. And neither have I ever seen really hard evidence that anyone is deficient in anything if they're eating a proper human diet. Species-appropriate, species-specific diet.
Very good.
Good.
Next one then. I have 10% Greek yogurt, which takes my risk carbs to about 15 grams per day. Would this be a problem?
What do we mean risk carbs?
I'm not sure.
Risk, you say? No, there are no studies that inform on risk of anything.
Let's say it says total carbs.
Yep, if I have 15 grams of carbs for the day, is that a problem? Very unlikely to be a problem, 15 grams of carbs of any kind. If that's your only source of carb intake, we could probably forgive you. We will not be lining you up against the wall so that Ted can take pot shots.
Yeah. 15 grams of carbs is not going to be a problem for anyone.
That's nothing.
Especially not if it's from Greek yogurt. I mean, if it's 15 grams of pure glucose, yeah, it might be a little bit problematic, but even that is not going to be a huge problem.
What form is the glucose in the yogurt likely to be, though?
Well, probably some lactose.
Lactose, some glucose.
Yeah, some, but not a lot. Right, we have a super chat.
We like super chats.
Thank you very much. I hope the move goes well.
Thank you, Jean. Appreciate that. So far, it's been going okay. We've been ferreting around in the background, packing things in boxes. I had to dismantle my shed that I so lovingly put together not that long ago. So it's ready to flat pack move to its new home. Ted, of course, has not lifted a single finger, mostly because he doesn't have any fingers.
He should have moved that floor yesterday.
He should have, but he doesn't have any fingers or strength, or he's also an inanimate object. Don't tell him that. He'll get upset. But anyway, he's been as useless as a chocolate teapot, about as useful as tits on a bull as Ted been. Pim, on the other hand, has been weeding, tidying up, etc. I've been mowing the lawns to make it look pretty and stuff. It's, for our landlord, so that we can hand this place back and not lose our deposit, hopefully.
We've had a lot of fun.
And we're moving half an hour up the road to Pimbatia soon. Like in how many days? 5 days.
Yes.
Some point on Friday, our time. Thursday, your time, most of you.
That's when it all starts. Yes, finally.
And we'll have, there are two options that we've been thinking about for a new YouTube channel as well. Let's vote on this today and get it squared away. The two options are Pimbatia Farm, which...
Do I know about these options?
Well, you're about to. And what Pimbatia Farm's channel will be about, it will be all about how we are moving from where we are now in terms of being dependent on others for things like electricity and water and stuff. And we're going to be completely off-grid, and we're moving towards a point where all food substances and beverage substances will be produced on the property. So we'll be talking about that and doing that, and there'll be lots of shots around the farm, which is quite beautiful.
No more coffee.
No more coffee, of course, because we can't grow coffee on the, Although I am talking about, maybe either it's grown on the property or it's traded for something that was, in which case then we could get things like coffee and alcohol, couldn't we? Maybe.
Alcohol would be easier to get from the farm than coffee.
We have some fruit trees, so we could get some fruit and use the sugar in that.
You can grow potatoes.
Potatoes. I could do vodka, couldn't I?
That's what they do in Sweden.
Do they? They do all sorts of things in Sweden. What's wrong with Swedish people?
Cammy.
Yes.
She's up north. Everyone makes their own there.
Right. Okay. So that's one option. Pimbatia Farms. The second option is OnlyFans. So let's vote. Who wants to see OnlyFans and who wants to see Pimbatia Farms if you get to choose from one of those two?
What's happening on the OnlyFarm? OnlyFarms.
OnlyFans. Well, I guess what happens on OnlyFans is what the punters request.
Is that going to be you and Ted then?
Well, that'll be pretty unexciting, won't it? We'll have to call in some talent to be on the OnlyFans channel. Who the fuck's that? Is that a quail?
Yeah. Yep. Those are the quail.
Fuck the shut up. We're doing a live stream here. Fucking quails.
Yes.
Because we had cows last week going moo, moo. Now we've got quails going
And we had Robert said,
yes.
Yeah, Elliot Overton has apparently seen amazing results with his clients and feedback from others from that.
Excellent, cool. So I would view Elliot's stuff on Thiamine B1 because I trust Elliot. He's a good source.
Quails are weird. They're funny. We have we used to have a couple, and then last year they expanded to being about 8 of them. Just one female still. I don't know where the other females went, and now they're roaming around again, and they're running in groups, doing all sorts of shenanigans.
One vote for OnlyFans from Zeno.
Where? I can't see that yet.
Underneath Ed Lashin's comment about good morning OnlyFans. Yeah.
Oh, yes, I see now. Anyhow, let's super chat here.
Yeah, good.
Made my first batch of beef jerky today with my dehydrator off eBay. Fucking awesome, but more addictive than crack. Try it after the move. Oh, we have lots of...
We have one of those.
In the fridge and in the freezer.
Yeah, we have a dehydrator. Yep.
I put a bit too much spices on one batch. So
on one batch, yes.
It's actually hard to eat too much of it. The other one is semi-smoked with salt only.
That sounds like a description of me. Semi-smoked with salt.
I see. And I'm stuck.
Ah, well, shit happens.
Stuck again, apparently.
Yeah.
Would be good if we could do the scrolly thing.
When we move the computer system around, I'm going to rejig it so that all of this shit doesn't happen with... Yeah.
Well, wouldn't that be amazing?
It would, wouldn't it? It'd be great if things actually worked.
So, not super chat, just question.
Yes.
The least negatively impactful way to consume coffee, except from not consuming it at all, of course.
Well, I think it's about moderating and managing the intake level and choosing the least damaging form of coffee. One of which I'm doing, the other of which I'm not. I have moderated my coffee intake down from 12 cups a day to 2 or 3 over the last few years, which has been great. However, I still choose the freeze-dried crystallized coffee that's very, very high in oxalate, personally. So, if I was going to advise myself to do anything, I'd advise myself, A, to choose a better form of coffee if I must, and B, to lose the coffee, which I'm probably going to do, given that Pimbatia Farms is going to be self-sustaining.
This would be very, very interesting.
I mean, okay, we can buy in things that can't be grown, raised, or whatever. Sanitary products, for example, you can't grow those. So we can buy those in. But all food and beverage, the plan is that it comes from the land in some way. It's going to be interesting. Many videos about that. Or your other choice is OnlyFans. Do vote below. That'll be a channel that's just pictures of fans going, blowing air. OnlyFans, that'll be.
Good.
Yeah, and it'll probably have Ted on it saying, bollocks! And are you retarded and stuff.
I'm shortly going to cook scrambled duck eggs with lard and butter.
Ooh,
I am
right.
the master chef. That's probably one of the things we will be eating, but maybe not so much butter unless we get a milk cow, which we won't.
Face on, they'd lush in.
Thanks for the salt.
Yes, it's very smoky and...
It's awesome.
Also, it arrived with a nest of fucking ants and their eggs.
He's aware.
Incredible.
I boiled them with hot water in the bath.
Yeah. And then you left them on the windowsill in the bathroom, and some other ants came along and took them all away and ate them, I assume.
Okay, very good.
Because they're all gone.
Oh, no, I rinsed them out. I know a few were still stuck. But
okay. I didn't see any ants doing that. I'm just making assumptions.
You make a lot of assumptions.
I do.
Next question.
Yes, what's the next question?
What's the best argument against using fluoride? Fine, it's poison, but it's even helpful against cavities. My wife thinks I'm weird enough being carnivore. I'm plugging myself into the wall.
Yeah, okay, so fluoride is a known neurotoxin. It's not a good thing to be consuming in any amount, really. The argument that fluoride acts against cavities is in the known artifact that fluoride can displace calcium, and fluoride is harder than calcium, and thus this resists cavitation of the dental calculus. Of course, that completely ignores the fact that the reason that people are getting tooth decay is they're eating carbohydrates and feeding acid-producing bacteria that like sugar. So if you stop eating carbohydrates, then you won't get cavities. So you don't need fluoride then. Our water's going to come from a well on our huge trucks of land. A well water.
And just know that fluoride will displace iodine in your thyroid as well. So if you do have some thyroid issues, just stop it. Don't drink fluoridized water? Do you
Fluoridated.
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 Didn't sound right.
No, fluoridated.
Fluoridated water.
Good.
Here we go. See, I learn English every day. Me cannot speak proper English.
Or Swedish anymore.
Apparently. Or any fucking language. Yeah. Right. How does milk thistle and dandelion root help support the liver?
I don't know. No idea. That's not something I've ever used in my practice or taken myself or studied or looked into.
I think we have a super chat.
Super chat.
Pimbatia, go big or go bust. Yes.
Yeah, we're just about going to go bust if you guys don't all super chat us all your money. Yes. Pimbatia cost us 7 figures to buy.
Yes, I think we can get that up now. Right, what are your thoughts about treating mast cell activation syndrome?
First of all, I would need to see a decent diagnostic criteria that establishes that a person has that. And then second of all, I would probably confine my commentary to the stuff that I understand well, which is the management of chronic systemic inflammatory overburden. And as such, there are 5 health hacks I think people should undertake. And they're on a number of videos on my channel, but specifically if you want them laid out for you, they're on the one where I'm doing that on the thumbnail saying 5 health hacks you need to know about.
Very good.
Yep. That's what I would do. And then, if there are other specific issues around that, you would probably talk to someone who specializes in mast cell activation syndrome to cross-check anything I would have to say. However, you shouldn't cross-check anything I have to say, because I'm the science and I'm safe and effective, and you should trust the science. Don't question the science.
Next one then.
Yep.
Any tips on suggestions on most effective way to heal hypertension? I am on blood pressure meds and want to get off them. Currently doing carnivore.
Right. Well, there's a time issue there because your blood pressure coming down once you go carnivore will take some time because your aberrant insulin responses need to come right, which takes time. Further to that, if you're drinking any amount of coffee whatsoever, I'd knock that on the head pretty smartly as well. I would ground yourself electrically as much of the time as is possible because that reduces the effective viscosity of your blood by quite a huge factor and thus means that your blood pressure will drop as a function of that. I would do some mindfulness and look after yourself psychologically in the best way that you know how. The best way I know how is to masturbate furiously. Many, many times a day.
Is that going to help with the blood pressure?
Yes.
Let's see.
Absolutely.
Good. The science says so.
Yeah, I'm the science. Trust me, I'm safe and effective. And when I say furiously masturbating, I mean furiously. Absolutely furiously. Yes.
Good. Good. Next one.
The last bit was just a bit of a joke, in case some of you that didn't get it. Yeah, Jesus Christ. But take me seriously about everything I say at all
Shut up
times.
now.
Yes, right.
I'm trying to read.
Go on.
A friend had a car accident, broke a vertebra, and is learning to walk again. Can stem cells help? He's 18 years old, thank you.
Yes, they can. Absolutely.
Yes.
You bet. Yes. Fucking chat window, fucking mouse button.
Yeah, it's
so
not
sad. I know, it's fucked.
cooperating at all today.
No, it's fucked. Oh, by the way, we're only here for an hour since we started half an hour later today because we've got shit to do. Just so you know. So get your questions in. You now have 39 minutes remaining.
Yes.
So super chat as well. Lots of super chats to make sure your question gets answered.
Yes.
And if there are lots and lots and lots of super chats, maybe we'll stick around a bit longer.
So what's the difference between saturated fats in coconut and animal fats?
Not much. If you take those molecules of saturated fat out of any food matrix they might be in and looked at the two saturated fat molecules, they'll be pretty much the same. The only thing that would be any different would be the profile of chain lengths.
Well, so coconut has a lot more shorter chain fats than most animal fats, but also different types of animals have different fatty acid profiles, and depending on what they're eating, they will also have different fatty acid profiles. So it's kind of hard to say. Apparently, getting beyond 40% self-sufficiency off-grid is virtually impossible.
No, that's not true, Lade.
That sounds Lade.
No,
that
that's not
sounds
true.
very low.
No. I mean, we'll be sufficient for water, for electricity. We have a plan for that. For food and beverage, we have a plan for that. What else is there?
Indeed,
we will have to. We'll have to get interwebs from
the
interwebs provision company.
It's true.
We use Starlink,
but that's
What?
Question then. Eggs, omega-6 ratio is about 15:1. Why are eggs good and chicken is not? Very good question.
Well, who said chicken is not good? And omega-6 ratio being what it is, well, yeah, okay, fine. What's your point?
Maybe because you said something about the fats in chickens compared to eating ruminant meats earlier today?
Yes, and I also said I'm not convinced there's any huge difference in terms of that. Come on in. Oh, Professor Fluffy's in the house. I'm so
I'm wondering if maybe him who shall not speak on YouTubes anymore, Harry.
Yes, not until the 15th of November.
Yeah, if he might have some videos that will explain why omega-6 isn't so bad when it's in animal fats. Just thinking that that's something that he said, but I can't remember exactly why.
He says lots of things.
Maybe it has to do with the deuterium.
Probably.
I don't know.
Or taurine.
I don't think taurine has anything to do with the fat.
Yes, I expect there'll be a jolly long welcome back live stream on around the 15th. It'll be the 16th, I think. Our date, 15th US date, I think that is.
Fair enough.
Unbanned. You'll have to be a good boy from now on, though.
What's it? Right, next one. My question was skipped a month ago. Wanted to know if vitamin B3 have any correlations to migraines. It's what I read somewhere online.
Not that I'm aware of. I'm sure that there may well be people proposing, I should say, such a thing. Whether it's true or not, or whether it has any veracity or utility, I don't know.
I would urge you to get a book called The Migraine Cure, I think, written by Angela Stanton. She also has a Facebook group, which requires you to read the book to be there, but they give you a lot of help there, and it has a lot of things in it. I can't remember if she said anything about B3 or if I just skipped over that, because I'm pretty sure it's not my problem. But it's a really good book, so if you want to read a book, I recommend that one. Might give you some answers and things to try out.
Yes.
Why do people get paralyzed on the left side of the body?
Depends on what's happening. There are a number of things that can paralyze the left side of the body or the right side. One of the things that will paralyze the left-hand side of your body is a stroke in the right part of your brain, the right part of the right side of your brain, the correct part of the right side of your brain to cause that, for example. That's a very generalized question.
Yes.
Be a bit more specific if you can,
Is
folks.
it more common to get paralyzed on the left side for some reason?
No idea.
Please help.
Yep.
Following a heart attack and 4 times CABG. I don't know, or 4x CABG. I don't know what that is. My wife's doctors have her LDL down to 27. I'm concerned that this will impact her immune response. Is she in danger?
I would suggest that that particular course of action is highly, highly contraindicated. There is absolutely no reason why anyone would intervene in someone's gene expression, leading to a certain level of anything, pretty much, including cholesterol. It's there for a reason. It's put there by her body for a reason, by her genes, those genes having survived at least 3,800 million years, probably longer, and knowing exactly what they are doing. The medical profession in this regard is so woefully destitute of the first clue and so absolutely divorced from reality that it's beyond laughable. Well, it would be if this was funny, but it's fucking not. And I would suggest that that needs to stop sooner than yesterday. But that's just my opinion. Doesn't have to be anybody else's. Although I am the science and I'm safe and effective and you should not question the science.
Very good.
Yes. Also, you can buy this nice mug, if you like, from my merchandise store.
Or fuck off.
Yeah, you'll find that in the bit.ly link underneath the video in the show notes. You can get merchandise such as this fine mug.
Right, opinion on eating algae. They don't have plant toxins, right?
Well, number one, depends on what kind of algae you're talking about. If you're referring to AFA, which is the base ingredient, I guess, from which the cerule product is manufactured, then no, they're not toxic. Our products, their products, cerule's products, I shouldn't say ours, they're not mine. I'm just joint ventured with them. Cerule products are highly safe and effective, non-toxic. They've been available in various forms, held by various companies, culminating in the Cerule company, for about 35 years, and there are no established cases of issues of problems of a toxic nature from consuming AFA products, so long as those AFA products have been appropriately filtered and activated, which is a proprietary process available to one company in the world only. Guess which one? Okay, that'll all be covered in my release of my response to not a Dr. Michael Grigger's ridiculous, pustulous, arrogant, ignorant fuck trumpetery, which I will release sometime this afternoon.
Very good.
Release the hounds.
I also want to tell everyone to look at this question that starts with a big capital Q. Please do that so I can find your questions easily. I can see many questions today that don't have that.
Also, to answer the second part of your question, AFA is not a plant. Not a plant at all.
Very good.
Right. What's next?
Salts. What salts do you recommend?
Sodium chloride, potassium chloride.
I don't think that's
sometimes
what
Epsom salts
the
if you want a
questions-
different response.
I don't think that was the question.
Yes, I don't have any particular brand that I favour. Do you?
No, but we got the Olsen's salt now sent to us because that's apparently the best, the sea salt.
Now, do we pronounce your name Huli or similar to
Skuli,
or Skuli?
probably.
Is it Skuli or Huli?
Skuli.
Huli.
Skuli Jakobsson.
Jakobsson, because I mean that makes me think maybe it's Swedish and therefore it would be Huli, wouldn't it?
Not Swedish, no.
No?
I would guess Danish.
Jävla danske.
What if it's Norwegian now?
Jävla Norman.
Want to share you a recipe, Pim? I don't have a recipe.
Recipe for what?
I think this was with regards to the beef jerky.
Oh,
I
right.
just slice it thin, put spices on, dehydrate it.
Maybe I could make a video and ask you questions like, so what are you doing now? And you could say, I am cutting.
Well, this is such an obvious thing. What are you doing? I'm fucking cutting. Are you blind?
You got to keep the vibe of the show rolling there, don't you? Good.
Question. Will you have geese on the farm? I made some broth from goose and it's holy.
No, geese are cunts. The fjäder fittor.
Oh, compared to paradise ducks, they're angels.
Oh, well, yes, maybe. We've also got paradise ducks that hang around our area, and
Oh, God.
they shouldn't probably be named paradise ducks. They should probably be called those noisy cunts that never shut the fuck up.
Yeah, probably. We have another super chat.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Lovely.
How would one work out how much meat to eat for weight loss when a lean mass would not be known?
Well, your ideal mass can be used for lean mass, and you would work that out using a BMI calculation, which is coarse. I get that. It does have an error around it. And depending on how quickly you want to lose weight, you would manage the mass of food you're consuming downward. But prior to doing that, you would make sure that the mass of food you're consuming is of the right kind of mass and not the wrong kind. And anyone that tells you anything about calories, you will go, shut the fuck up, you ignorant cunt. Yes. Well, I would. You might handle things differently than me. Probably a good idea, to be fair. Good.
Okay. If you were in charge of Ross Edgley's nutrition when he swam around England, what would it have been? I think he ate a banana and had some gel pack every 90 minutes.
Jesus Christ. Why would anyone need to do that? At all. It really depends on how long I'd been in charge of Ross Edgley's nutrition, whoever Ross Edgley is. Apparently he's a swimmer. As to what I would suggest would be a good idea for the event of swimming around England. Also, it would be difficult to swim around England without also swimming around Scotland and Wales. That would be difficult.
So, what would your advice have been then? That was a question?
Well, I always advise nutrition for everybody, including athletes, that does not involve any significant amount of carbohydrate of any kind. However, I also suggest that a person should not change their diet from what it is now to anything else overnight. It's a very, very good idea to change your diet somewhat glacially over 6 to 8 weeks, really. And in the case of an athlete, you will also need to understand that for perhaps 6 months, there will be a decrease in one's exercise performance capacity until the full adaptation to the fat-based nutrition has occurred, after which time the performance will be as good, if not better, than it was beforehand. Do you want to go out?
She can't.
You can't.
Because you would come back and scratch on the door.
And you can't be trusted out there by yourself anyway because you're a dick. Don't look at me in that tone of voice. Fitter.
It is. Cheek. Right, were you done?
Near enough. Plus minus.
Okay. As it's only 2 months away, are you having turkey for Christmas and making an exception by having trimmings, etc., or still staying strict that day?
We don't really observe Christmas at all.
And I don't like turkey.
No.
It's dry as fuck.
Yeah, if anything, we say bar humbug.
May as well eat cardboard.
Yes. Every day's Christmas in Pimbatia.
Does fluoride cross the blood-brain barrier?
You tell me, Robert. Given that it's a neurotoxin, I suspect it does. But I don't know the exact mechanism of that. It's not my specialisation.
Have to look at if it's sneaking through some ion channel somewhere.
I suspect it probably does.
Right. What's worse, sugar or artificial sweeteners? And what's the mechanism by which artificial sweeteners harm in terms of metabolism?
Depends on how much we're talking about and whether we're talking about equivalent amounts of, and how would we determine the equivalence between one and the other?
And what artificial sweetener?
Exactly, and what form of artificial sweetener? In general, to answer the bit about what is bad about sweeteners is that they cause an insulin response in the same way that actual sugar does as soon as it hits the taste buds. And given that there's no actual sugar incoming, that can cause a blood sugar crash because of an aberrant spike in the insulin that actually wasn't required. But your brain doesn't know the difference between actual sugar and something that tastes like it. So that's why it's not so good. Also, many artificial sweeteners are implicated in many other problems, like carcinogenesis and other forms of toxicity and various organ system problems. Sugar, of course, we know the evils of. It's a carbohydrate. It's easily broken down to blood glucose. We know that's a bad thing. We know why. Gil Carvalho doesn't.
Yeah.
But the rest of us do.
For your health in general, I think artificial sweeteners are probably worse. And still people would choose them many times because no calories and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Depending on what the sweetener is. Some of them are relatively innocuous, I'm told.
Well, artificial sweetener is maybe different than stevia or monk fruit. That's not really artificial, is it?
Not really.
It's just a non-caloric sweetener.
But it is a plant extract.
Yes.
And therefore evil.
Very evil. Sugar is also plant extract, by the way.
Yes, it is. But also sugar is found in meat.
In
very small amounts.
So we have plant extracts in meat.
Sugar, not all sugar is a plant extract.
Well, it comes from a plant.
Does it?
Yes. What do the cows eat? Eat fucking plant.
Well, what do the cows digest, though? They digest the bacteria, not the grass.
Ooh.
Yes.
Isn't Pim the science too, though?
Depends on who you ask.
Only if I agree with you. Or...
That's right. If she agrees with me, she's also the science. If not, she's guilty of hate speech. Anyone who disagrees with me is not respecting my identity as flawless and faultless in every way and is thus a bigot and guilty of hate speech.
Finished. See what it's like. Anyhow, how long does it take to get fat adapted?
6 to 8 months for most people, sometimes 12 months, depending on where they're coming from, for the full adaptation.
If you come from Sweden, does it take longer?
Well, probably. And it's not linear, by the way. It's curvilinear, this adaptation. Most of it is up front, but the finalised last bit is the bit that takes the longest.
I find I crave raw ground beef. Is that very inadvisable from grocery stores?
Depends on the grocery store and how the meat's been treated before it got to the grocery store, etc.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry too much, honestly. But that's my opinion. So.
You do have very low stomach acidity for a reason you would have as a carnivore if you are a carnivore. Those that eat significant plant material will find their stomach acidity is highly compromised by that. In general, your mileage will vary. There is a distribution around all statements made about the average person here on this channel by me, the science, the trustworthy science, the safe and effective science, the science that must not be questioned. Good.
Right, should we take an iodine supplement? I've been hearing about this lately.
Why the purple fuck would you do that? Are you short on iodine? And if so, how has that been established? The only time you should ever supplement anything nutritionally is if there is a demonstrated shortage of that thing for you. Otherwise, no.
If the body creates cholesterol from other substrates, why do we need to ingest it?
We don't need to ingest it.
We just don't need to avoid ingesting it.
That's right, we just need to not avoid it. Exactly. Very well done, science.
Now I get to be the science.
Pim is also the science in that respect.
Very good.
She's safe and effective as Pim.
Jesus.
Pim should not be questioned. That's nothing to do with science, it's just a fact. Don't question Pim.
Unless it's you. You get the questions.
I get to ask questions because I'm the science, you see.
I don't understand this question. Have you two thought about tissue salts?
The what?
I don't know.
The who?
Tissue salts. I have no idea.
Yes, our tissues contain some salts. Otherwise we'd be dead. But I don't spend a lot of time thinking about it necessarily.
Hydroelectric power is still a go?
Yeah. We'll be using that on our property.
Maybe.
We'll be using that. We'll probably be using some wind and possibly some solar. Depends.
Bah. 5 health hacks for insomnia for women.
Well, what makes it different for women than men?
What even is a woman?
Exactly.
Are there any women? Or is everyone a woman?
What's a woman? I'm a woman. I identify as a woman. I'm going to enter the women's boxing at the next Olympics, I've decided.
And for me to not be a proper feminist, I need to support you being a woman.
Yes.
That makes all the sense.
Yes. All the sense.
Fucking fucktards. Oops. Did you get demonetized now?
I think we already did that when I said cunt several times earlier.
Oh, yeah, okay. Fucking fucktard cunts then.
Yes. I saw a great meme and I'm going to make it into a t-shirt, I've decided.
Oh, God. I've been hearing this all week.
Well, it's because it's so good. It's basically, the perfect woman, it says. Number 1, not bad at cooking. Number 2, not a cunt bitch. What else is
I
there?
thought it was the succeed one.
Oh, well, that's also good. Is it your goal to succeed?
No.
I have some seed you can suck.
Jesus. I think this is a question. It's a Q anyway.
Yeah.
Sean Baker interviewed Professor Brian Peskin about importance of getting unadulterated parent essential oils for cell membranes. Have you seen it yet or know about Brian Peskin?
No and no. I have no idea what that could possibly even be about. What the hell is a parent essential oil for cell membranes? And how would we adulterate such if we were going to?
I have no idea.
God, there's all these people running around with all these things that's absolutely the answer to everything, isn't there? Everyone has to have a kind of thing.
So, what university does Bart work at?
I don't work at a university. I haven't done since about 2018 was the last tertiary level education provider that employed me or indeed took me on as a consultant, as the case may be. The last time I taught a class in a university setting was 2016, and that was in the UK.
Okay.
Right. I don't.
Question. My grandpa, not carnivore, 94 years old, had today paralyzed left side of body. They took him to hospital and sent him home the same day with some pills. He is still paralyzed. Any solutions?
It really depends on the cause of the paralysis. At that age, it's likely that that's some kind of either hemorrhagic or non-hemorrhagic stroke. That's a complete guess. I would need to actually have a look at the man and do an assessment, which is very, very difficult from somewhere else in the world. What pills? Also, what pills did they give him?
Antiparalytic pills.
Well, clearly they're not working if he's still paralysed.
I have no idea.
Sorry to hear about your grandpa's issues, by the way.
Yes.
But that's not really something I can answer for you without doing an assessment myself. More information is needed.
So, hi Professor Bart K and Pim. I came here to learn and will do my best to resist asking stupid questions.
Good. I wish everybody would do that.
Yeah, but...
Only good questions, please.
If you have a valid question, just ask it. A stupid question is asking us something that you easily can Google that is just a fact. Ask something that is more...
Anyone that says there's no such thing as a stupid question, no, you're wrong. It really is. Would you shut up? Stop with the squeaking.
She's shivery. Oh,
She's going,
give it to me then. Come on.
come on. Fluff. Come on. Jump. Oh, Professor Fluffy.
Oh, yes.
Squeaky as fuck.
Right.
Yes.
Is it theoretically possible to get diabetes from exercising and or fasting too much, since both raise glucose?
No. Neither will cause a magnitude of deviation away from the homeostatic set point on glucose.
Why would fasting increase glucose?
Because it causes an increase in gluconeogenesis.
Well, is that more than your normal increase though? No,
it's not. You're not going to get the same response that you're going to get from eating any amount of carbohydrates. No.
Oh, yes. No. Okay.
Yep.
Next one.
Yep.
When you're talking about the transition from one's current diet to carnivore, are you mainly talking about gradually decreasing the fiber rather than carbs, since the cells eat carbs, not microbes?
What are you talking about? Flame one. I'm talking about changing the makeup of the diet from whatever it is to carnivore slowly over 6 to 8 weeks, i.e. removing all plant materials but not doing it all in one suddenly overnight hit. As to this bit about cells eating this, I don't know. Don't even know what that's about. Don't know. That's what I'm talking about though. Change your diet slowly.
Mm-hmm.
Not just fibre, also the carbohydrate level in your diet. Good.
Passed out doing deadlifts, first time ever, been working out for 20 years, 3-year carnivore, drank salt water before next session, no problem. Why did this happen?
All sorts of things can cause someone to pass out from extreme physical exertion. How long's a piece of string, basically? There may have been an electrolyte issue, there may have been a blood pressure homeostasis issue. All sorts of things can cause such a blackout when doing something physically at the top end of your exertion.
If mammoths came back to life, would you try the meat?
You bet. Yeah, you bet I would.
Have you ever heard of Cytosolve? It's one of Dr. Shiva Ayadurai's inventions that gathers all known molecular pathways and simulates how they work together, eliminating need for animal testing.
That sounds like absolute fucking nonsense to me. No, I haven't heard of it, and it sounds like rubbish.
Rubbish.
Yeah. This is yet another individual with the answer to everything, but no proof that he has the answer to anything, sounds like.
Mm-hmm.
He, she, I don't know. I think Shiva's a man's name, is it? I don't know.
Nah. Not sure. How do I stop my dogs pissing in the house?
Don't let them in the house.
Kick them out when they're pissing.
Yeah.
Catch them.
Yep, you have to. It's an operant conditioning thing to teach a dog to do anything or not to do anything.
How fat-adapted athletes can perform better during, let's say, a high-intensity exercise, which will increase mainly glucose oxidation?
Gluconeogenesis solves this issue. Simple.
Stop grumbling. I'll bite your ear. She grumbles anyway. Opinions on enclomiphene, non-steroidal antioestrogenic, to raise testosterone without side effects.
Why do you want to intervene in your testosterone level? That is set by your genes. Do you have any signs at all of androgyny? If so, what are they? You probably need to talk to me in a consultancy private discussion so that we can get to the bottom of your particular issues.
Which is funny, because right after it says consult with Bart, details on his channel.
Indeed. Also, details underneath every one of my videos. There's a bit.ly/Bart-KAY link that you can click on, from where you can organise consultancies, buy merchandise, find the Cerule products, which you can also find at the link above my left shoulder at the top of the screen right now, right next to where it says the Meat Militia. What else can you do there? You can just donate to my PayPal if you want to. We do need donations, though, because, well, we're 7 figures in the hole because we bought Pimbatia.
Yes, but it's a problem. Been in my bed for over a year and back feels like it's broken. Can't sit or stand long or walk far. No money to pay Bart, surviving on disability and food stamps, says Tulip.
Yes, in a case where someone really, really is in a very bad situation health-wise and also financially, I am happy to do pro bono work to a limited level. So people in that situation, Tulip, just let me know and we'll sort something out. While I'm here to make a living and not friends, I don't mind having friends. That could be useful when the Akoko Pops occurs and everyone has to come to Pimbatia and defend its borders from the evil machinations of the former New Zealand, now a communist state.
We have actually run out of questions. This has never fucking happened this quickly.
Well, that's good
before.
because we said we were going to be here for an hour and it's like 50 minutes. So
Yes.
if you do want any questions answered in the next 10 minutes before we fuck off and do more packing and cleaning up and things and all of that, then super chat those to us now so they come up to the top of the feed and we can go, ooh, there's some questions.
We actually have 166 people watching and we run out of questions.
Probably because they all know as much as we do because they're all the same people.
Highly irregular.
Yes, what's irregular?
To run
Oh,
out
the
of
questions. Yes, right.
Here's one.
Good.
Once we clone saber-toothed tigers and populate a wild island with them, is King Tedacus and his advisors Bart and Pimicus willing to go on an ancestral memory hunt using only primal weapons?
Might be an idea for a video, for a laugh. We could do that, couldn't we? Should we take the hunting dog pack? See how vicious and scary they are? Aren't you scary, Fluffy? Although she is an expert chaser and shouterat of swallows.
But only swallows.
Only swallows. No other birds, just the swallows.
Bart, you're very kind-hearted.
Yes, I try to be.
Oh, are my questions not showing? I don't know. Try it again.
And also, prefix them with the Q, colon, and suffix them with a question mark, which you've done. Also, start your sentences with a capital letter. That's correct English. What's your questions anyway? Pluripotent protoplasm.
Indeed. And hit the thumbs up if you please.
And even if you don't, please do it anyway. Also, share this link out to your social media feeds so that people can see just how useful it is to listen to this channel.
If you remember, what is the last video game, console, and video game that you played? Oh, come on. Stop fucking around. Wrong side. Go there.
I haven't played video games forever. Probably the last game I played to any level or pissed around with at all was like Duke Nukem 3D. That long ago.
In the 80s.
Yeah, stop scratching at the door.
Yeah, I knew she was going to be a problem.
You knew that when she was born, pretty much, didn't you? Oh, God, this one's going to be a problem.
I asked about your thoughts on priming.
Well, ask me something specific about priming and I'll give you an answer.
Need this one to refresh somehow.
Yeah.
Like that. Usually it works. There we go.
Good. In general, my thoughts on priming are it's a useful tool at various times and various people when it's indicated.
Is Pimbatia in the same region you're in,
Yes.
not wanting to dox you?
Yes, it is. Yeah. It's half an hour down the road from here. Or up the road, if you like. Or up and down the road, because it goes up and then down again to get there, doesn't it? Unless you go the long way, which is flat, which goes around instead of up and over
And then it's
down
longer
again.
than half an hour.
Then it is, yes. Then it's more like an hour and a half, probably. Or close to it.
Yeah. What breed is your dog's?
Well, there's a miniature schnauzer called Amy, otherwise known as Snooze, or Professor Snooze, or Snoozy fuck's sake, or Stop That. And Nessie, otherwise known as Fluffy, otherwise known as Professor Fluffy, otherwise known as You Little Cunt. She
Ants in your pants dog?
Yes, she is a Chinese crested powder puff, the hairy model. She's also a complete fuckstick. She's a cockhole.
And you love her.
I do.
She's your favourite, and I don't know why.
She's also my dog anytime she misbehaves.
No, she's your dog all the time. She's a nun.
Does it say that in our prenup that I get Fluffy?
Yeah.
That's a good deal because you get like $500,000 property.
But you get her. So
unless you could get me bumped off, in which case you get the lot. That'd be awesome, wouldn't it?
Then we need to replace you.
I'm irreplaceable, me.
How am I going to replace you then, if you're irreplaceable?
Well, you're not. But you'll have free reign of the whole place.
How fun. Who am I going to bully?
Exactly.
Does plant fat contain vitamins E, D, K, or retinol?
Does plant fat contain E, D, K, or retinol? Not to my knowledge, to any meaningful degree, in a form that's bioavailable.
I think the bioavailability is the biggest problem, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, for a start, all
Snoozy. He's jealous.
All vitamin A based things that you get from plants are all vitamin A precursors, like carotenoids, not retinol. E, D, and K I understand to be animal only in a usable format.
But they are available in fats.
Dan's in the house. Kia ora e hoa.
We have super chats, 3 of them. We'll start with for our grandmas.
Yes.
I wouldn't hunt. The mammoths would have more meat. I would hunt, sorry. I can't read.
No.
Okay, I can't speak English and I can't read. What am I doing here?
You're here to keep the vibe of the show rolling and make sure Ted behaves.
All right, so Pimbartia Border Defense Fund contribution. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We also need person power, people to come and hold the line and keep out the world. Only fully subscribed paid members of the citizenry of Pimbartia should enter.
And manage the dog squad.
Yes, the dog squad. Release the hounds.
Then we have one more, but it doesn't say anything. So, but thanks you.
$2.99 Australian. Thank you very much. That will pay for our mortgage for how long? Appreciate it. No, I'm just kidding. We appreciate all inputs. Yes, I know the chat window's fucked.
Yes.
Yes.
Right. Breaking Benjamin has a new song. Have you heard it?
Yes, I have, and I posted it on my Facebook page for others to enjoy as well. It's very typical of Breaking Benjamin. It's very much their sound. It's very much exactly what you would expect. It is actually much like everything Breaking Benjamin have put out in the last decade or so, which is actually just remixes and reorganizations of existing chord progressions and existing tunes. They haven't actually done anything original for, well, at least a decade. And I'm not against that necessarily, personally. I mean, I think that when people listen to a certain band, they should be able to expect a certain thing. It's one of the reasons I kind of went off the boil with Alter Bridge. The first 3 albums were absolutely outstanding, the best I have ever heard in that genre, in my opinion. And then the next 4 albums have just gone off. They've just gone off and done weird shit because, I don't know, they're bored or whatever, or they want to try different things or expand their right. Well, great, but that's not why I became a fan.
Right, we have 3 more minutes,
Good.
so I'm just going to pick some.
Yep.
Are occasional super high ketone spikes dangerous, and if so, what to do during the spike? This weekend, breath ketones went to 70 and 90.
Oh, God. Okay. What I would suggest to people, if you have any form of ketone measuring kit at all, and you are not an uncontrolled type 1 diabetic, throw the fucking ketone meter or the ketone strips or whatever they are away. It will not give you any useful information of any kind. Yes, high spikes of ketones can be dangerous, but only at levels that you are only likely to experience at all in a completely non-physiological state, i.e. uncontrolled type 1 diabetes, where the blood glucose will often also be very, very high, as well as high ketones, because you can't really absorb anything out of all of that. Yes.
Is chicken and fish equal to steak in terms of nutrition?
No. They're different things. They have different pluses and minuses. Apples and pears, not the same thing. Chicken and steak, not the same thing. Thank you for the question.
Do you think taking prebiotics are a waste of time?
Yes, I do think that. For the most part, for most people under most circumstances. By the way, I think it's funny that people refer to some things as pre and probiotics. Everything you eat is a pre and probiotic. Everything you eat comes with its own flora.
Right. So why are we have 3 energy systems or 3 different types of muscle fibers still taught and propagated in the fitness industry? I was taught this 30 years ago.
Because often something becomes established and supported by nothing more than a consensus of people who will buy that model and on-teach that model. And it takes a very, very long time for people to understand that many of these models that are currently taught are wrong. That's human nature, I think. My professor, when I was learning, said to me something that I've always remembered and always will, and that is, he said, well, science progresses one funeral at a time. And that's right, it does.
Is it wise to do barefoot grounding in cow pasture?
Depends on many circumstances.
It's not unwise.
Well, it might be, depending what's in that pasture.
Yes.
All those cows.
If there are thistles and poisoned poos, maybe.
Poisoned poos, yes.
Poisoned poos. Approximately how much land is your new pastoral empire in area?
It's about 15 hectares plus or minus, which is about 38 point something acres plus or minus.
Pretty good. And I think, do we want another question? Or
no, why not?
Blah, blah.
Blah, blah. Finished.
Well, I'll pick that one. Would fasting help bring spikes down in ketones and glucose, etc. in type 1 diabetics?
Possibly, depending on the situation that's going on at that time. In a type 1 diabetic that is expressing huge amounts of ketones, you will find that their blood sugar is also very, very high. Which is kind of counterintuitive to what causes most people to get a small amount of ketones in their bloods, nutritional ketosis, in other words.
But if you're type 1 diabetic and you produce no insulin yourself, you need insulin.
That's right.
There is no fasting that would help that. You need the insulin.
That's right. You don't get that insulin and your blood glucose remains high and your ketones remain high, you will die at some point. So you need to sort that out.
Yeah.
Also coming up soon, I'll be doing I believe it's a live stream with DC and a colleague, friend of DC's, and one Dr. Anthony Chafee regarding some aspect of, I believe it's colon cancer in the next little while. So that's worth looking forward to. Keep your eyes out for that. I'm not sure whose channel that will be on. Probably Anthony Chafee's, maybe mine as well, possibly DC's channel as well. We'll see.
We got super chats,
Yay.
although we have already answered this question. But thank you very much for the super chat.
Yes, appreciate that.
And the other one is HRV a good marker of health? And if so, how much would we be a worrisome range? My HRV used to be between 60 and 80, and recently it's been around 20 to 30.
Okay, in that case, that would suggest that there has been a change in your physiology of some kind over whatever period of time you're talking about there. It may or may not be indicative of a problem. You really can't diagnose anything with one signal in isolation. It's just reductionism. It's not helpful. You probably want to talk to me behind the scenes in a consultancy situation to try and get to the bottom of anything that may or may not be going on there. HRV, by the way, is heart rate variability for those that don't know. Please also, people, don't use TLAs. They're a PITA FFS. TY.
Very good.
Yes.
Yes. I mean, if your HRV used to be really high and it's dropped significantly very quickly, there's something going on.
Yeah, there may be a change in your physical fitness. There may be all sorts of things that could have
A
caused
virus, excessive stress, whatever.
They don't want us to leave, do they?
No.
They want to super chat us more, which is good. We'll sit here as long as you want to send us money, because the bank wants lots of money out of us for Pimbatia.
Thanks for everything. You are lifesavers for me throughout going carnivore 8 months ago. Love, love, love to you.
Thank you very much.
Love to you too.
We love you too, and there's nothing you can do about it. Come and join us in Pimbatia. We will all sing the national anthem of Pimbatia on a daily basis.
No, we will not.
We will.
You can go and do that somewhere else.
Rude.
15 acres away.
Very, very rude. All right.
Right, that was it.
Okay,
no more
good.
super chats.
Well, in that case, steak and eggs and steak. That's what you should have for your breakfast, Snoozy. Steak and eggs and steak. Just making sure you heard. I think she got it. Right, the rest of you, you know the drill. Send us all your money. Don't forget that I'm the science, safe and effective and shouldn't be questioned. And stick around. Thanks, Dan, for the $20. Appreciate it. That'll keep the lights on for a while. Appreciate that very much.
Thank you, Dan.
Cheers, Dan. Everybody else, that's the example. Only Pacific pesos, Dan, New Zealand dollars. Goodness. I'm kidding. All right.
Ooh.
Good. Everyone says cheers, thanks, and all of that. Right.
Yep.
Join us in a couple of weeks for a live stream, and there'll be one or two things coming up on the channel while ever the actual moving and things is going on, but there'll be probably a degree of radio silence. It's okay. Everything's fine. We're just moving house and getting arranged. See you when we get back. Look at the channel later today. There will be that video where I'm responding to not a Dr. Gregor about his ridiculous, pustulous, arrogant, ignorant comments about AFA harvested from Upper Klamath Lake in Oregon. He was wrong. He was wrong on the interwebs. I'm dealing with it. That'll be later. Right. Bye for now. Hit the button.